Okay, so we're back talking about rural water supply under the new incident response policy. In this clip, we're going to talk about how to support the attack tanker by pumping off water into the Siamese. So we already have our first due package has arrived. We have our first two engines, our first due tanker. The chief is here, he's directing operations. We have the ambulance positioned to make a rapid exit, and we've laid out per normal. So it is more than likely that the second due tanker will now be arriving. So his job is to pull up and pump the clappered Siamese. So when we do this, though, we have to be aware of our positioning. So what's happened in this scenario is the second due tanker arrived. The driver didn't really think about it. The ladder truck comes up, and now he can't get into the driveway. So if at all possible, try to keep this to one side or the other. In this case, it would be far better for the second due tanker to go ahead and position out of the way of the driveway and pump the Siamese. That way the ladder truck can come in and gain access to the house. You also can get any other supporting apparatus in there that you might need. So the second due tanker's gone ahead and he's pumping the Siamese. We're going to say that the third due engine now arrives. He should pull down and around out of the way. Basically, his job is to support the Siamese operation with more hose and appliances if needed. So when we support the Siamese, we want one short piece of hose, which is available off the tanker, and we want to lay out a longer piece of hose. The notion is that we can get two tankers in there at the same time. So the second due tanker is already pumping the shorter piece. The third due tanker comes in. He goes ahead and hooks up. Now, the first due tanker should pump this line at about 100 psi. The third due tanker can go ahead and start pumping the line at 90. So what's going to happen there? Well, here's our clappered Siamese. The second due tanker is pumping this at 100, so his clapper is going to open. The third due tanker is pumping it at 90, so his clapper is going to remain shut because the guy with the higher pressure is going to win. When the second due pumper is done and second due tanker is done and idles down, now his pressure falls. The third due tanker, he's going to go ahead and open up, and that way there is an uninterrupted supply of water. As the second due tanker goes ahead and unhooks and leaves, the third due tanker should go ahead and throttle up to 100 psi, and then when the next tanker comes up and hooks in, he can repeat the same process. So the guy that's waiting to pump off should just go ahead and pump it at the lower pressure and then ramp it up as he takes over. So that way there's an uninterrupted water supply going to the first due tanker. Remember, he's acting as a relay pumper, so if there is an interruption here, that's going to be felt all the way through to the attack lines. So it's probably better to avoid that. If it's unavoidable, that needs to be communicated to the first due tanker operator so that he can go ahead and shut this intake and start using his tank water. And he would just have to flip back and forth between those two modes of operation. So again, this is how we support the attack Siamese. This is something that we're going to be practicing in the in-service because it is a little bit complicated, but if you just think it through, it shouldn't be that bad.